I don't have to worry about mental issues because I just don't even have a brain. Modern problems require modern solutions. Hey guys, if you write a nice comment under the latest video you get the chance to be shown in the next video. Identical twins of Reddit, what's the most awkward thing that has happened to you because someone thought you were your sibling? My parents were at a dinner party in about 2000 and it came up in conversation that my dad has a twin. One of the couples at the dinner party looked at each other in absolute shock and the husband asked, "Was it possible that your twin was at Expo 86? Turns out this couple thought they had seen my dad cheating on my mom at Expo 86 and actually it was my uncle there canoodling with my aunt. They debated whether to mention it to my mom for over a decade. My dad always says he was wondering when that couple were always a bit standoffish with him. My parents have been married for almost 40 years. We still laugh about it." My dad is an identical twin. Both have a wife and 2 kids. They both frequent a restaurant with the family. Every time we go to that restaurant, the staff point and whisper. Dad tells us it's because they think he and his twin are the same guy with 2 families who don't know about each other and bring both of his families to the same place. Oh, and another one, though it's not really awkward per se. One day I went into a Starbucks. The barista smiles at me and says, "Oh, didn't I see you on the trail the other day? You had the cutest dog." I don't have a dog, but my twin brother does. So, even though I'm quite happily married, I flirted with her for a few minutes and just gave her my brother's number. In high school one of my twin brother's teachers said hello to me and tried to grab my arm to speak to me about something probably class related. I didn't know who it was as I had never taken her class and walked off quickly and kind of weirded out. Later she berated my brother in class in front of everyone for being so rude to her. He told her it was probably his twin brother and she didn't believe him. Everyone else in the class told her that he did have a twin brother to corroborate his claim, but she refused to believe any of them. I'm an identical twin, and one time I slept over at my sister's house and there was only one bed, so her husband let me sleep in the bed with my twin, and he took the couch. The next morning he heard the shower go on and thought I had gone in there. It was my twin. Then he climbed in bed behind me and put his arm around my waist. He softly said "Hey" in my ear, and I turned to look at him and said, "Hey baby, looking for a little variety?" As a joke. He leapt out of bed and said, "If I were looking for variety, do you think I would choose you?" It was awesome. So my twin and I went to separate schools in 7th grade. Midway through the year I transferred over to my twin school. The day before I started my twin fell down in science class and hit their head and ended up going home. I start school the next day. Same science teacher. I go to the front of the class, cause him new, and I introduce myself. The teacher's eyes got really wide. He starts freaking out and telling me that I'm Ash, my twin's name. Moral of the story. My twin told no one at their school that they had an identical. The teacher thought I was Ash with a head injury. Visited my twin at another college, was sleeping at his place when some random girl crawled into bed with me. She did not believe me when I insisted that I wasn't him, so we stayed until he got home from the bar. I'll never forget watching the sinking realization in her face. Me and my twin, being young and dumb, decided to switch classes at school one day. We were in year 2. About 15 minutes into class we both realized that, since this wasn't our class, we could act up a bit, cause the other would be punished, not us, which resulted in us both getting lunchtime detention and the awkward conversation with our teachers about why we were acting up. I got reminded of few stories. Back when we were 16 we were at a youth event which so happened to have a wrestling ring. Somehow throughout the night we'd each been separately convinced to participate. There were bets amongst the leaders over who would win. Unsurprisingly it ended in a tie and was really boring to watch. While on another youth event we went to a local water park. At the time me and my brother were going to different high schools, so we both had friends neither of us knew. This is important because this youth event brought together a lot of different groups, so here's a short list of things that happened. My brother got crash-tagged from behind by my friend Luke who he'd never met. I pretended to be my brother with his friends that knew us both. One of them caught on and helped. We somehow both managed to be in the wave pool and no one realized we were both there. I got a drink splashed in my face because his ex thought I was him. While I was washing the dishes, my brother's wife came up behind me and grabbed my crotch and whispered, "Hurry up and come F me," to which I replied, "Not sure ex would like that, to be honest." Whoop, I actually have one for once. I'm an identical twin. This is a case of someone assuming my twin was me, though. For some background, I used to work at a place with an extremely tight-knit, friendly work culture. It was not unusual to have folks go out for drinks after work and have 20 or 30 people show up. Anyway, one day one of my co-workers pulled me aside and asked, "Hey, I just wanted to check, but is everything okay with you and Carrie?" Carrie is the woman I had just gotten married to at the time, and I'm still happily married to now. I answered, "Yeah, as far as I know." "What are you talking about?" They answered, "Don't BS me. A bunch of us saw you last night." I replied, "What on earth are you talking about? All we did last night is stay in and drink beer and watch Netflix. We saw you with your arm around that blonde lady at the Fox and Hound last night. If you're going to cheat, why on earth would you do it there?" After a little bit of back and forth, it became clear that a large contingent of my coworkers had seen my identical twin macking it with some woman at the bar. That was our most common hangout. I had to get my brother out with all of them once, just to convince them that I actually had a twin. Brother and I worked together for about 4 years in retail. We would often get scheduled wrong and got so many "you are in two places at once" comments. Most awkward thing I can recall that happened was I got yelled at by a customer. I ran register and he ran the floor for something my brother did. The customer laid into me and I watched my brother appear from around the corner, and he came by and asked the customer to lay off me and he'd help her. The customer profusely apologized before following him. All in all, working with my twin was a lot of fun. I'm not, but my brothers are identical twins. My brother and I both had kinda ratty weeks a few months ago, so we decided to go out for dinner. Got there and the waitress kept giving me just the dirtiest of looks. Finally she looks at my brother and says something along the lines of, "Wow, I can't believe you are seeing other women while your girlfriend is on a mission trip." Turns out, the waitress was friends with our other brother's girlfriend. The waitress got really embarrassed when my brother introduced us as the twin and the sister. I had a steady boyfriend for years, and he would often get messages from people, sometimes pictures or videos, about my sister making out with someone else or holding hands with someone else, and they thought it was me. Shook the F out of him at first, but we laughed about it eventually. Not me, but my uncle. He slept with his own girlfriend and ended up dumping her for cheating on him because he realized she thought he was my dad. She was super giddy about how exciting it was to sleep with the other twin. At that time people had a tendency to think they could tell them apart due to how they dressed, but they actually shared the same clothes and didn't have a definite style each. Finally, I have something. My identical twin gets like 5 matches a day on Tinder. I've been on it for around 1 year and I have a grand total of 0 matches. We have the same face, god damn it. I was walking to my car one day after classes when I was in college when this girl comes marching up to me angry as all hell and asks why I didn't call her back after our wonderful night together. Turns out, her and my twin had a one night stand and he ghosted her afterwards. Not me, but my lifelong family friends are identical twins. Everyone is constantly confused to who's who. One time, one of them asked me out, and I obviously said yes, but the awkward thing is I was talking to the other twin about dates, dinners, and all that. It didn't take long for me to realize I was talking to the wrong girl, due to the confusion written all over her face. My dad is an identical twin. When I was 17, my older brother died. During the wake, people kept walking up to my uncle and talking to him thinking that he was my dad. That was awkward. It was also awkward when I was little and would get them mixed up. My siblings, cousins, and I called them Uncle Dad when the families were all together. Up until my dad got really sick, it was really hard to tell them apart unless they were speaking. Thank God for regional accents.